hivi hali sio hali tena. Wananchi wengi kule kaskazini mwa nchi wanalala bila chakula, wanakufa njaa. Mheshimiwa Spika, ukiangalia hali ya usalama imekuwa si hali tena, mara wizi wa mifugo, mara mauaji ya kiholela. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, wanaochukua nyadhifa hizi ni lazima wapigwe darubini sawasawa, na ni wawe watu ambaye tutahakikishiwa kwamba Wakenya watapata haki yao. Mheshimiwa Spika, nilikuwa natazama katiba ya Kenya asubuhi hii. Ukiangalia sura ya 4 yazungumzia juu ya haki ya Mkenya. Baadhi ya haki iliyozungumziwa Mheshimiwa Spika ni haki ya Mkenya kuwa salama, mali yake na yeye binafsi. Lakini Mheshimiwa, ukitazama sasa hivi Kitui pale, wananchi wa Kitui wanahangaika kwa sababu ya kuhangaishwa na Wakenya wenzao. Ukitazama Laikipia kaskazini tunahangaishwa na majambazi ambayo wanatoka kaunti jirani. Mheshimiwa Spika, wengi wetu tumekatazwa haki yetu ambayo tumepewa na katiba ya Kenya, haki ya mali yetu kulindwa na nafsi yetu kulindwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, haki nyingine ambayo Wakenya wengi wamekatazwa, katiba na sheria ya Kenya inasema elimu ya msingi ni lazima na ni haki ya kila mtoto Mkenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, leo hii ukitembea kaunti ya Baringo, haswa katika eneo bunge jirani langu la Tiati, utapata kwamba kwa wale watu zaidi ya 70% hawawezi kusoma wala kuandika. Mheshimiwa Spika, sio lawama, sio kwao, ni lawama ni kwa serikali ambayo imewakataza haki yao ya kimsingi ya elimu. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, wakati serikali inakataza wananchi wa Kenya haki zao za kisheria, hata mara nyingine inastahili wananchi kuishtaki serikali yao. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, nasema nini? Nasema kwamba naomba Mwenyezi Mungu wale watakaochukua mawaziri hawa haswa wa elimu na usalama wahakikishe kwamba haki zetu tulizonyimwa kwa miaka na mikaka tumeweza kurejeshewa na kuhakikisha kwamba tuko na hiyo haki. Mheshimiwa Spika, ukitazama sura ya 6 ya katiba ya Kenya yazungumzia juu ya uadili ama maadili yanayoambatana na utumishi wa umma na watumishi wa umma. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi naomba tu Mungu kwa siku karibu tuone Wakenya wenyewe wakikataa kuteuliwa iwapo wanajua wako na madoadoa. Manake Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna baadhi yao ambaye wako na doa kulingana na maadili yao. Mheshimiwa Spika, na unajua Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi kama mama sijui vile nitaenda kwa ofisi ya mtu ambaye ako na shtuma ya ubakaji. Nitakuwa na hofu sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ingekuwa ni jambo la busara iwapo ndugu zetu katika Kenya Kwanza wamekosa watu wenye maadili mazuri, wangetuomba upande huu, tuko na wengi tu Mheshimiwa Spika. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, nasema hivi kwa sababu singalitaka kusikia mwanamke ameenda kutafuta kazi ama ameenda kutafuta kutumikiwa katika ofisi ya umma kisha anatoka nje amebakwa. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi niko na hofu na baadhi ya wengine hapo, japokuwa sitawataja, lakini Mheshimiwa iko na iwapo mtu amekiri kwamba ako na kesi 35, Mheshimiwa Spika, hata akitunukiwa nafasi hiyo, hata yeye mwenyewe akili yake haitatulia, hataweza kutumikia akiwa na ile akili tulivu. Na kwa sababu kuwa na kesi sio kwamba kusema kwamba huyu mtu ako na hiyo makosa, lakini kwa sasa hivi wapewe nafasi ya malizane na kesi yake 35, wapewe Wanakenya wengine ambao hawana doa, hawana kasoro, hawana tashwishi, waweze kutumikia Wakenya. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ningetaka kurejelea kwa swala la Penina Malonza. Huyu mwanamke maskini anapewa lawama eti kwamba hakuweza kuongea. Mheshimiwa Spika, si mara ya kwanza wanawake kulaumiwa. Hata katika shamba la Edeni, Adam ambaye alitangulia hilo shamba alilaumu Hawa kwamba ndiye alimfanya kukosa. Lakini yeye mwenyewe ndiye alitangulia hapo. Yeye mwenyewe ndiye angesema ile tunda lisiliwe, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hivyo binti huyu Malonza, mimi naona kwamba wataka tu kumfanya kafara bure. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, iwapo ni kupita, basi sharti huyu binti pia apitishwe. Shukrani Mheshimiwa Spika.
MP for Tigania West.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to this motion. Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank the President for the mix in the selection. The 24 are very different. They are very representative in terms of their careers, in terms of their background, in terms of their academia, and even the regional balancing. So we thank him for that. Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank the committee for doing their work very well. They did a good job. They asked probing questions. We watched this. And they also wrote a detailed report which has informed the debate in this House. Honourable Speaker, they have majorly explored on a few areas which I would like to highlight for the purposes of this House. Integrity and the directions of integrity, and I do not need to highlight what integrity is. It's there in Chapter 6 of the Constitution, and everybody can refer to it. They were looking for the demonstrable knowledge on topical, administrative, and technical issues. They were also looking at the requisite abilities and academic qualifications and professional experience. Honourable Speaker, the committee pronounced itself in bringing us a report and giving us the process through which they went. I would like to highlight a few issues that were covered in this report, Honourable Speaker. First of all, the compliance with taxation, all of them passed. The clearance with the DCI, only one and a few issues. Honourable Speaker, when it came to help, we realized that most of them, all of them who got loan from help were able to clear their loans. And I want to highlight on a few cases, 7 of them did not find it necessary to take help loan. And what do I see? People who leave the less advantaged or the disadvantaged to benefit from such state provisions. Honourable Speaker, among these two, I single out Aisha Jumwa and Mithika Linturi. Honourable Speaker, I would like to be specific on a few issues. Let's talk about Aisha Jumwa. Who is Aisha Jumwa, according to what we know and according to the report as it is? Aisha Jumwa has been a struggler all her life. Aisha Jumwa has been elected the member, a women representative of Kilifi. The Kilifi people trusted her with Kilifi, and she did her job very well. She was not barred from contesting for governorship. Well, she did not win as a governor, but should we therefore block her future in this particular respect? Shouldn't we realize that she struggled against a man and almost beat him, and then realize that this is a very forthright person and somebody who is one working, and therefore give her the opportunity to serve this country in a different capacity? We should not deny her this opportunity. Kenyans, Honourable Speaker, are governed by a constitution and law. We know there is a matter that is pending, and rumor has it that this matter has been settled. I may not allude to that. I am an examiner, Honourable Speaker, at the university level, and I give Aisha Jumwa 72%. Honourable Speaker, let me turn over to Penina Malonza. Penina Malonza has an admirable career. She has gone through a lot. She has a private sector experience. Honourable Speaker, she has been the Deputy Governor of Kitui, and she has also done a good job. She has left a track record. The only problem that the committee cited was she did not demonstrate knowledge on topical issues on matters tourism, matters wildlife. The question is, and I would like to pose this question to this House, were we looking for this lady as a consultant in tourism and wildlife, or did we want a policymaker, and the policies are meant out of advisory? Honourable Speaker, since we were not looking for that, this lady deserves 70%. Let me turn very briefly to Mithika Linturi. All of us know about Mithika Linturi. Mithika Linturi is one man whom we can describe in the late Biwot's own word, a total man. Mithika Linturi does not take anything lying. The fact that Mithika Linturi's name has been tarnished in this country is because he stands as a man and he stands with his mind. He speaks his mind. He says the truth as it is. He is one fellow who has clearly articulated the failures of the previous regime. And this regime has made sure that they tarnish his name in the best way possible. Honourable Speaker, there is a mention of cases, and somebody has the audacity to say 35 cases. Honourable Speaker, these 35 cases can be reduced to one case. They all come from the same source, and it's a source that we would not like to disclose. We would not like to discuss such issues here. These are domestic matters. Although domestic matters might find themselves in court, we should leave the court to resolve this issue. So I'm talking about only one issue. Honourable Speaker, Mithika Linturi, if I may say so, is one of the people who has done a lot for this country. If I may demonstrate who Mithika Linturi is, academically, his case was taken by EACC to court, and the court pronounced him clean, pronounced his records as right, and therefore his papers are okay. He has served the public in many capacities. He is one person who has been a private sector entrepreneur who has done very well before he got into politics. He got into politics and became the Gembe South Member of Parliament for 10 years. And he has a development record that is impeccable in Meru. If you want to know how development is conducted, go to Gembe South. And my brother here, John Paul Mwirigi, will tell you that he found a pedestal of development upon which he has carried on. Mithika Linturi's record, on the other hand, was also trusted by the Meru people. He was given the senatorial job by the Meru people. And he took the Kiraito Murongan government to task. And he has satisfied the Merus as somebody who has worked very, very, very hard. It's one person who goes out of his way in service for the for humanity. He is a person known for pro bono activities or for charitable activities. One person who pays 1.2 million shillings as school fees to children from the disadvantaged background. He's supporting that 9 children as we speak. How many of us are doing that? Mr. Speaker, this is not CDF bursary. This is somebody's money. On the other hand, he is somebody who is involved in food distribution to the disadvantaged. He is a person who supports institutions in socio-economic affairs. He has been mentioned, he has never been mentioned in any inquiry report. He has never been laid off from any office because of malperformance or because of lack of performance. Honourable Speaker, this is the man we need in agriculture and livestock, and I'll tell you why. He is an innovative dealer. Agriculture needs innovation. He is an entrepreneur. We need to explore entrepreneurship in agriculture. Honourable Speaker, he is a compassionate person. He is supporting people right now. We need a compassionate person in a sector that supports 75% of this economy. 75% of the people of Kenya depend on agriculture. So we need somebody who has feeling for the people. Honourable Speaker, he is a hard worker. We need a hard worker in agriculture. Therefore, we need Mithika Linturi in agriculture. Honourable Speaker, in my very considered opinion, I would give him 75%. So if you look at 70%, 72%, and 75%, then all of them have gotten A's in the university level. Honourable Speaker, let us pass the 24 nominees unaltered. I rest my case. Thank you very much. And I offer my few minutes to my friend Meli so that we can go for another business. Thank you very much.
But you will, as many as they are. Proceed.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I also want to take the cue from my colleagues to congratulate you on your election on the Speaker's panel. To Honourable Speaker, I want to say that I also want to thank the President for the good work that he did. The mix that he has actually appointed from politicians and professionals is quite commendable. Also, the members of the executive are all drawn presidential appointment. Honourable Speaker, I want to comment on the appointees or the nominees. Honourable Speaker, I want to say that the fact that the nominees were formerly members of Parliament have the feel of the people on the ground. Previously, Honourable Speaker, you will find that most of the professionals who are in the cabinet did not understand what the citizens wanted, what the people wanted on the ground. the fact that we have Honorable Duale, Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, and many others who are formerly members of parliament and served for many years will surely understand the needs presented to them by members of this House. So, on Honorable Aisha Jumwa, I want to say that this is a true bottom-up lady. She has actually risen through the ranks. She actually dropped out of school. That did not actually make her to stop in her life. She went ahead and became a counselor. She went ahead and did exams from 4. She went ahead and did a certificate. Honorable Speaker, I want to urge this House that we really assist and we pass the name of Honorable Aisha Jumwa, because she has actually proven that life cannot stop just because you have dropped in Form 1 or Form 2. She went ahead, Honorable Speaker, to even vie to be a member of Parliament and even to be a governor. Honorable Speaker, you'll realize that when she fought for a governor, she was actually allowed. She was actually accepted to go through. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that this House
Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members.
Yes.
Order, honorable members. This is an August House. Yes. And for God's sake, I've been away for 10 years from this place, and things have got to look like an August House. It's not a fish market. So if you have to consult, you consult in absolute, inaudible tones. Proceed, honorable member, and the honorable member shall be listened. Order, honorable member.
Thank you.
Order. Order, honorable member. Ngamia market also, for that matter. Honorable members, for God's sake, let's treat this as an August House and let's consult. And if you want to consult seriously, there are a number of lounges, including the ones at the back and the ones in the front. So proceed, honorable member.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker, for restoring order in the House. Honorable Speaker, on Honorable Inturi, I want to say that this is a man who has actually been very honest. He actually came up and articulated these issues very well and said he had 35 cases. The fact that he owned up and actually clarified the issues that he had, and in fact, Honorable Speaker, he even contested to be the governor of Meru, and he actually met all the requirements as by the law. So, Honorable Speaker, the fact that the committee or the minority have actually written a minority report rejecting his appointment or his nomination, Honorable Speaker, is actually not right. Honorable Speaker, on Penina Malonza, if you look at her academic record, Penina is actually having a very good academic record. She has actually had 2 master's degrees. She has led a number of NGOs. She has actually been a deputy governor. She has actually proven and gotten a number of international awards. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that let us pass all these nominees, allow the Kenya Kwanza government under the leadership of President Ruto to ensure that we have a new government running and it is in place. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
MP for Mahaya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance. I would wish to indicate that first I want to congratulate the Committee of Appointments, which looked at the various nominees. They were acting on our behalf, and now we have a chance to see what they did. Honorable Speaker, on the onset, let me tackle one issue which has been spoken on by very many speakers, the issue of Malonza. That I noticed, Honorable Speaker, that yesterday after I heard that the committee had not approved her, I went back to look at the videos of her performance, because that seemed to be the main reason why she was not qualified. And I noticed that away from Speaker, protect me from Honorable Ndwale and his team for consulting too high.
Order, honorable members.
So I went through those videos, and I realized that some of the questions that embarrassed that lady were very specific questions that required a technical person. And in this level, of trying to come up with CSS, we may not need that. Some questions were so specific, like how much did we budget for compensation of those who were actually killed by wild animals? I thought that was too specific for a question and it may require a technical person. Furthermore, did you know that, honorable members, if a snake were to bite you, you are supposed to take a P3? I know most of you are not aware. That may not be used as a basis to make judgment on you when you want to become a minister for tourism. So I think we don't need to go that direction. Honorable Speaker, in education fraternity, when you are questioning or interviewing a person in that area, there are levels of questions. They rank in what we call the Blumen's pyramid of questioning. We have questions that require remembering. We have questions that require understanding. We have questions that require analyzing. The highest level of questioning is that of creativity. Currently in the CBC, we are actually training our students to go to the level of creativity. So the questions should have been much as possible been those that can lead to creativity and not those ones of remembering, because the budget and other specific questions can be found on Google. Number two, Honorable Speaker, I noticed an effect that we call in examinations the halo effect. The halo effect is a situation whereby there's a tendency for the previous experience to make you have an opinion on the following one. Given that this was a cabinet and a mixture of both politicians and non-politicians, there was a tendency for possibly the panel, the politicians were speaking. And therefore, when they faced a person who is not a very accomplished politician, they had a halo effect. And therefore, I think she doesn't need to be completely ruled out as a person who can work, but I believe she needs to be given a chance. I'm looking forward to possibly somebody moving an amendment that as we discuss this particular debate, we should just be discussing it together with amendment that these Malonza be included in the cabinet. Honorable Speaker, the last cabinet had challenges that were very specific. When the makers of the Constitution decided that the cabinet members should possibly not be politicians, we had the idea that the Moi cabinet had many challenges of them being too much loyal at the expense of working for the people. But the previous cabinet equally suffered the same. And those who are taking cabinet positions, including Honorable Ndwale, who is seated here, I want to ask them to be people who will be loyal not only to the executive, but to the people of Kenya, and more so to the parliament. We don't expect to see a cabinet that will still be very arrogant, a cabinet that will not be willing to answer questions of members of parliament, and a cabinet that will run it like it is them to show it all. We have had challenges, and I'll mention specific areas. The Minister of Transport, for instance, there was a serious challenge. I tried to reach to the CS Transport 5 years, I never saw him. The Minister of Interior, and I'm happy the nominee Kindiki is a gentleman who understands. It was impossible to deal with the CS Interior. He was operating at a level that you wouldn't imagine. Another area was the area of education, where the CS was a one-man show and ran the whole show alone. I'm actually appealing to this House as we approve this cabinet to send them a signal that they should be responsible to the House. Honorable Speaker, specifically I want to deal with the area of education. The CS Education, who is the nominee here, must be ready to know that as he comes into office, he is faced with the issue of CBC, which is affecting the education system. He is faced with the issue of delocalization, which is already on in this House, and I want to thank the MP for Lurambi for having moved this motion. He is faced with the issue of Teacher Service Commission and its role as both a regulator and an employer. He is faced with the issue of non-monetary CBS to the workers, and specifically the teachers of Kenya, which we'll have to deal with. He is further faced with the issue of infrastructure in our schools and the transition of CBC. And furthermore, he's facing the issue of teacher shortage in our schools, among others. And therefore, they should come to fore while ready to do this business. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I want to say this. The committee did a good job. But where I come from in Western, it will also appear very weak, Honorable Speaker, for you to deal with several names, up to 24 names, and only come back home with one innocent lady as the only person whom you killed from your hunting expedition. It's a weakness, it's not a strength. I want to urge this House to pass the entire list of nominees as they have been proposed. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Gilgil.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
What's your point of order?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think some of us who are new in this House need to be heard and seen.
Yeah.
Because I am among the members of Parliament who were elected recently as the first timers.
Okay.
And it is very difficult for us to be recognized or to be seen in this House. In fact, from the first time I made my maiden speech, up to now, I've been among the first people who are coming in these chambers to lock in. Only to leave, even like yesterday. I left at the last minute at 7 p.m. And I was among the first people to lock in and not be seen. We are all equal.
Honorable members, order. Honorable members, when the speaker is on his or her feet, you're supposed to freeze. You can't keep on talking from the sides. For God's sake, let us protect the dignity of the House. Honorable member, I agree with you. I sympathize and empathize with your condition. The only thing you have to know is that I was here. Order! Order! Oh! I have to bend maybe, yeah? What you have to appreciate is I have the only members who are with me, the 10th Parliament, are less than 10 here. They're about 5 or 6. And so I don't know who came in the last term or who came in this term. So whenever you have that kind of genuine concerns, you register with the clerks and let them bring to me that information. I'll certainly make such affirmative action to be able to get you all chances to be able to talk and contribute. Listen to everybody. Yes, I agree with you. Order, Honorable Mbadi. Order. You can't engage with the speaker from the benches. By the way, you're not chaired. So I appreciate, but please, let's hear Madam Wangari. Yes, what's the information you want to give me, Honorable Member, for what? For which constituency? For Baringo North, yes, proceed.
Not information, Mr. Speaker. I'm saying point of intervention. And I want to, Mr. Speaker, request that those members of appointment committee who have hard time with the nominees be left so that those of us who have not been the members of appointment committee will have a chance.
Very well taken. Very well taken. Yes, what's your intervention, Honorable Member for Nakuru? I was in this House when I knew almost everybody in the House by 3 names. But we were only about 200 that time. Now we are almost 400. So proceed.
I know. Thank you, Honorable
Forgive
Speaker.
me for not knowing your name. Yes.
It's okay. My name is David Gikaria, Member of Parliament, Nakuru Town, East Togo.
Proceed, Honorable Gikaria.
Honorable Speaker, I totally agree with my colleagues.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it's not the right time, but with your indulgence, Honorable Speaker, I know this is a house of debate. If we could reduce from 10 to 5 minutes and every person has, then that will quicken and fast. I know it's a house. I know, Bandi,
It is only for the new members. Bandy, maybe you can be given the 10 minutes. But for the new members, I'm just asking for your indulgence. I know it's not right time, but only for 5 minutes. Maybe somebody can talk
we have done. Hold on. Honorable members from although I'm a little bit rusted now, I mean 10 years away from the chair, you forget quite a bit. But then if I remember very well, if it is the intention of the majority of the members of the House that this debate should be limited to 5 minutes to accommodate as many of that idea, almost everybody, then I think, I'm not sure if I can put in a question. Can I put in a question? Bring me, can I have the standing order? A moment, let me just read the standing orders here. Standing order number 1. No. Order. Yes. My attention has been drawn, and there's a provision in the standing orders. A motion for limitation of the debate under this standing order may be made without notice, they said. But then 3 says a motion under this paragraph 2 shall not be made in the course of the debate itself. It can only be made at the beginning of the debate. So at the beginning of the debate, that would have been possible. But order. Course of the debate, which at first, unless it's moved after. Order. You can move, because I presume this debate is going to continue tomorrow. Am I right? Today is the last day. Okay. Unfortunately, now it's on the discretion of the members of parliament to limit themselves to 5 minutes, please, so that we can give as much opportunity to as many as are willing to do that and as possible. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I also empathize with members. Having sat there yesterday, it's not easy to get members to do 5 minutes, but I'll try to do so. So I'll start by, of course, congratulating the committee led by our own speaker. They sat long hours. They have gone through the paperwork. They have gone through the vetting process, long days, and they came up with this report, Mr. Speaker. I also want to congratulate the President, Mr. Speaker, because it is not easy to get 22 members of a cabinet from 47 counties, which all desire to get a cabinet secretary, not able to get members from 42 ethnic tribes to be able to be represented in the cabinet like this. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to note that most of the members that have been vetted and approved in this report, Mr. Speaker, is that they have all the experience. And I think the issue of combining politicians in this cabinet, Mr. Speaker, we are looking forward to a better cabinet, a cabinet that does not look down upon the elected members, a cabinet that deals with issues as they come, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, the entry of this team is full. Right now we are talking drought, people are hungry. In my constituency, everywhere people are suffering, Mr. Speaker. We are having the nominee, some of the nominees, Mr. Speaker, will have quite some work to do, especially the nominee, especially for national security, Honorable Kithure Kindiki. Right now we are having conflict between herders and farmers. Even in my constituency, an area called Gorika in Baruch location, Mr. Speaker, people and Maasais have brought cows all the way from Kajiado, all the way from Narok. They have invaded farms that had maize, Mr. Speaker, and the conflict is simmering, Mr. Speaker. I'll be looking forward for them to get to work and deal with these issues. Mr. Speaker, the issue of lands, and I want to allow the President that for the first time, Nakuru County and City have a CS nominee, a full cabinet secretary nominee, Mr. Speaker. It has not happened. And for the first time, we are represented by Zach Njero on this domain and in this nomination, Mr. Speaker. We are hoping that we will deal with the lands issues. We will deal with every sub-county getting a land registry, Mr. Speaker. That is an issue we should push in this cabinet, Mr. Speaker. I am looking forward to the nominee for education, Mr. Speaker. Apart from CBC, we are dealing with teachers' issues, Mr. Speaker. The issue of TSC not working well with the Ministry of Education, having a push and pull, Mr. Speaker. The issue of hardship allowances that I tried to push for some areas, especially in Nakuru, in my area, which is a semi-arid area, Mr. Speaker. We want that reclassification done by the CS of Education, Mr. Speaker. But on the issue of the nominee, Penina Malonza, Mr. Speaker, we must look at the law as it is, Mr. Speaker. Article 152 of the Constitution does not stipulate the requirements of what a cabinet secretary should be, and I think it's the role of this House, Mr. Speaker, that we get, because we have done it for governors, we have done it for the president, we have even done it for MCAs, but we have not done it for cabinet secretaries. So to say that you don't like the way I look or how I behave or how I talk, Mr. Speaker, cannot be a qualification to disqualify this nominee, Mr. Speaker. So I'm looking forward to the amendment as it comes to this floor, has been promised by some of the members, Mr. Speaker, that we ensure that this list of CS nominees passes as it is, Mr. Speaker. But because of time, Mr. Speaker, the only other issue I will touch on, I'm looking for the CS Treasury now to deal with the issue of release of NGCDF, Mr. Speaker. We are here in this house, we are having issues with that term. Children are in school, we have Form 4 sitting for exams, we have them at home, they are not even able to put a meal on the table, and yet they are home for school fees, Mr. Speaker. We will be looking forward for the CS Treasury to ensure the timely release of NGCDF for the last, for this financial year, Mr. Speaker. And because of the concern of members, Mr. Speaker, and having sat where you have sat, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to take more time. I want to support this list and give more members, and I hope that we can be magnanimous enough. Even if the time is 10 minutes, you don't have to take all of it. Let us take as few minutes as possible so that we give as many members to contribute. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thanks a lot, the MP for Gilgil. That's very, very, very generous. The MP for Bomet East.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. At least now I've been recognized and heard that I'm in this house. My people in Bomet have been complaining every weekend I go home. They normally ask me, people are talking, and what have you been doing? You go and sleep there, we see you in the TV, and you're not contributing anything. Thank you very much. And I think I've now learned the game. Regarding this, the motion in place, Mr. Speaker, regarding the approval and appointment of cabinet secretaries, the Attorney General and Secretary to the Cabinet, I would like to go straight to the point of contention, that is Madam Penina Malonza, whereby the President had included her in the cabinet list. I would like to say, Mr. Speaker, some of us have come from corporate sectors whereby some people have been working there and you never hear them talking. This lady was a deputy governor. And what we need to ask ourselves is, Kitui County, did it perform during our time or it failed? Those are the pertinent questions which we need to be asking ourselves. There are some people who are trying to talk too much, but when it comes to service delivery, it is very difficult for them to articulate issues or to deliver. And I think Penina Malonza should not be left to the lynch mob. I want to say we should include her in the list of these cabinet secretaries who have been passed. The President nominating her has gone a long way, because we know where the lady comes from was not supporting the Kenya Kwanza government. And I want to say the President did well by trying to diversify and trying to unite the Kenyan nation by even appointing people from the areas which was perceived to be opposition to the government. And I find it very difficult and to understand the opposition members when they just come and start trying to oppose one of their own. We are trying to help you. This is a lady which is coming from the area whereby it was supporting your side. And we want to do this to try and unite this nation by even trying to bring people from those areas which is perceived not to have supported us. So the acumen, Mr. Speaker, I want to be protected from the people who are making noise from behind my back.
Order, honorable members. Order, honorable Dwale.
Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable members. Order.
Mr. Speaker, as I complete.
Yes, what's your point of order, honorable member?
Mr. Speaker, is the honorable member in order to stand before the House and allege that it's the opposition members who are fighting their own members, while the committee, the whole committee adopted that Honorable Malonza is not fit to serve. Is the honorable member in order to mislead this House? It was a unanimous decision of the committee. So, Mr. Speaker, I would encourage him to read more about the recommendations of the committee.
Thank you very much. You have been heard, and I want to tell you it is the House to decide. We are going to decide this in this House. And by virtue of that committee, let me tell you it is an extension of this House. And I want to say, I want to give a very good example, Mr. Speaker. Personally, I've been working in the aviation industry, and if I can bring to this House what I learned from that sector, the transport sector. Kenya Airways has been underperforming as compared to other carriers. And what we have seen as what the government of the then has been doing is trying to import some the so-called technocrats to come and manage or head our airline, of which they've never delivered. We need to emulate some other carriers or other countries which they've made their airlines to be very successful, and not try to import people and come and lead our corporate sectors and not changing anything and paying millions of money in terms of salaries. What I would like to say is, Penina Palonza tried to express herself, but it looks very difficult. But that should not deter her from being given this position. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, let me say thank you very much. May God bless this House. Thank you.
MP for Lugari. MP for Lugari. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for affording me this opportunity. And Mr. Speaker, being my maiden speech, I expect 10 minutes. I want, first of all, to congratulate you, Mr. Speaker, for finding yourself on the Speaker's panel, and congratulate Senator Wetangula for being elected the Speaker of this House. I also want to take opportunity to congratulate my colleagues who are here with me for being voted in to be members of the 13th Parliament. I would like to congratulate my people of Lugari for giving me an opportunity to serve as their member of National Assembly. Equally, Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate my party and the party leader Raila Amolo Odinga for staying the course of change, for staying the course of democracy, for ensuring that this country is reaping the fruits of devolution. Mr. Speaker, whereas we are here celebrating democracy, I come from a constituency that has been discriminated. In 2008, the then President, Mwai Kibaki, laid a foundation to tarmac a road, C42, that comes from Tarbo to Sekhendu. To date, no single point of a kilometer has been tarmacked. I come from a constituency, Mr. Speaker, that in 1992, the then President, Moi, gave people land together with the people of Manzini. But the people of Lugari are still staying as squatters as that land has not been gazetted from the forest. That is how unfair this government has been to the people of Lugari. Mr. Speaker, looking at the list we have been provided with today of nominees, I first of all want to congratulate the committee. But I find fault in the following: that we have been provided with a list of nominees that goes contrary to the Constitution of Kenya. I cannot see a youth in that list. I cannot see a person with disability in that list. Mr. Speaker, if we become a house to rubber stamp things that we know constitutionally are wrong, history is going to charge us. Mr. Speaker, when I look at that list, and I'm looking at my fellow members of parliament of female gender, contributing here, supporting a name of a person who attempted to get carnal knowledge of a woman without her consent, I cry. Mr. Speaker, when I look at that list, Mr. Speaker, as I look at that list and I see people glorifying a nominee simply because she came from a humble background.
What's your point
How
of order?
many of these people come from a humble background?
Order. This is the maiden speech of Honorable Nabi.
Thank you, Mr.
And he shall be
Speaker.
heard in silence. Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
I proceed, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Honorable members, order, please. Honorable member, could you take your seat? Proceed, Honorable Nabi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to comment on one Aisha Jumwa. Mr. Speaker, I've seen a copy of an affidavit of a poor woman, a poor Kenyan, whom the nominee grabbed the land, and here we are talking about, oh, she came from a humble background. What about that poor woman whose land has been taken? What do we do with that woman? Mr. Speaker, I'm pained today that this house is debating a list that has somebody with 35 cases. The question of integrity goes beyond being proven guilty or innocent. It is a question of conscience. It is a question of perception. Surely, what are we going to tell our children? That a person, when we had so many millions of Kenyans who didn't have cases, the best we could get is a person with 35 cases? I cry. This nation, my brothers, we can howl, we can shout, but I can tell you, tomorrow we look you into the eye and tell you that you voted for a person who is criminally conflicted. Mr. Speaker, that does not mean we don't have good people on that list. I support vehemently the nomination of one Murkomen, a legal mind, a man who understands what he really wants to do for this country, a man who demonstrated his vision of what the transport sector should be. That is what we want to see. I want to support when I see a lady like Wahome, somebody who can demonstrate what she's thinking about in terms of water. But can we say that of that one Malonza? My answer is no. If you cannot demonstrate the vision you have, then you do not know what you want to go and do. As a HR expert, I want to tell you this. The reason we have face-to-face interview is for you to tell us what you can do. If you can't demonstrate, you will not make other people do it. You don't know it. How will you make others do it? I want to urge my colleagues, a cabinet is beyond community. Because if we were to talk about our tribes, then I don't see a Tachoni there. Then I don't see an Ogiek there. It is about Kenya. So I'm urging our colleagues who are retreating to tribal cocoons to desist that. We are looking for a cabinet that will help the president deliver. All of us, on both sides, we agree that we want a working nation. We want a working country. We want an effective cabinet. So please, as we look at these names, we need to ask the question, if I looked at you in the eye, would you meet the Caesar's transports? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, we will have the Honorable Mbadi, followed by the Honorable Faith of Nyandarua, and the MP, order, and the MP for Kiamba, and MP for Manyata, in that order.
Thank you,
Order.
Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this important motion on approval of nominees to the Cabinet Secretary positions. Mr. Speaker, if there is any singular responsibility that has been bestowed onto this House, it is that of approving the Cabinet. In other jurisdictions, Mr. Speaker, this responsibility is given to Senate. If you go to the United States of America, it is the Senate that is tasked with this responsibility. In Kenya, we decided in our own wisdom to give it to the House of Representatives. And therefore, we are expected and required to make decisions to carry out our tasks in a way that would respect the people of Kenya and in a way that represents their interests. Mr. Speaker, what is required of us as a House is to approve these members based on their suitability to hold these positions. If you look at the nominees, I want to agree that yes, there are some names in that list. Out of the 24, there are individuals you can pick out and say have the competence, have the capacity, have the professional competence and academic competence, including experience, that they would use to execute their functions. I would mention that the nominee for the position of Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, has the capacity, if it's given opportunity, to deliver and perform the functions that are bestowed on that office. There are also other names I would mention. I would mention the name of Honorable Duale. Everybody has been mentioning. We know the work ethics of Duale.
Yes,
he has experience as a former member.
What is the point of order, Chief Konga? Give Honorable Chief Konga the mic.
Yeah, please, don't.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I don't intend to oppose my very good friend, the Honorable Mbadi. He is speaking very wisely today. Except that, Mr. Speaker, we had a motion yesterday in which you ruled, and you know we are a house of rules, and there has not been a change. It was decided yesterday, and you authorized, Mr. Speaker, that we are going to debate for 5 hours up to 11 a.m. this morning. Mr. Speaker, it is now 11:01 adding to 02, Mr. Speaker. Since you've made a ruling and there has not been any motion of enlargement, would I be in order, Mr. Speaker, that you call the mover to reply?
Order, honorable members. I will allow the honorable Mbadi to finish his submission, then I'll give you direction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have also mentioned that Honorable Duale, I think everybody has been speaking about how Duale has the work ethics. Duale has been majority leader for about 7 years. He has served even as assistant minister. I agree that Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen is versatile. He may not have the experience in that ministry that he has been charged with, but he is versatile. I know he can adopt. There are others like Eliud Owalo, people who have not worked in government, but through experience in terms of consultancy, he can get into that ministry and perform. 2 years, I can't overemphasize. Kithure Kindiki, misplaced, but intelligent enough, he can adjust. Speaker Muturi, I am sure, will deliver. But Mr. Speaker, looking at this cabinet in totality, I have my fears. We are approving, if we do approve, we are approving a cabinet that is not so competent. We are approving a cabinet that I think the mindset of the appointing authority was not on service delivery. This is not a cabinet that is going to bring economic revolution in this country. This is not a cabinet that is going to have Kenya take off from a middle-income economy. This is a cabinet that lacks competence, integrity in many aspects. So what was informing the appointment of these members to the cabinet? If you can have Aisha Juma tasked with the responsibility of reforming our civil service, which has challenges, I fear that is not something that is going to work. This is a cabinet that was informed by political expediency. The president has actually appointed 2027 campaign managers, regional campaign managers. The president is simply telling us that we give him a cabinet that is not going to function because he's ready to run the entire government system, machinery, and structure from State House using advisors. Otherwise, we would not have a cabinet that we have today. The cabinet is deficient in terms of academic, in terms of professional competence, in terms of experience, in terms of integrity. Many people with cases. Look at the case of Davis Chirchir, Mr. Speaker. This is the same gentleman who was removed from office in 2015. Removed from office on matters of corruption. This gentleman, how many Kenyans, if you ask them today, would remember that he was holding the docket of energy? Very few, meaning he left no impact in that ministry. And then you are leaving a lady you have already appointed to the cabinet called Rebecca Miano, who has enough experience, expertise, knowledge, capacity to run the Ministry of Energy, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order from Chepkonga.
What is the point of order? It's just argument. Point of argument, wasting my time.
Mr. Speaker, you know, when the Mbadi knows that I know the law, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 83, as read together with Standing Order number 91, on the accuracy of your information. Mr. Speaker, would it be in order for Honorable Mbadi, who has been sitting in this house, he knows that Mr. Chirchir was never charged in any court of law. He was removed in a very capricious manner. He cannot quote any case here. He is just bringing some market talk from outside. Mr. Speaker, he is under an obligation to be accurate. If he thinks that somebody is corrupt, he should give us. In any event, you had the government the last time. You should have charged him in a court of law. But you cannot just come and engage in a market talk here, in a serious house, Honorable Mbadi. For goodness sake, please, quote a case in which Honorable Chirchir has been convicted or has been charged with an offense.
Honorable Mbadi.
You know, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Chepkonga is lucky that Chepkut is no longer there. He would lose in the next election. Mr. Speaker, the threshold, Mr. Speaker, the threshold under Chapter 6 is higher than cases being in court and such like, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the threshold for approval in this House, we are not a court of law. In this House, we are approving you based on your capacity to hold office. Look at the lady Penina. She's being disapproved simply because she could not talk properly in the committee. And you are telling me that a name that has been brought here by none other than the president as having been mentioned in matters corruption, that person is as clean as cotton. Mr. Speaker, let us be serious. Even if, and I've never been in government except in 2008 to 2013 when I was in Nusumukati government. I have never been in government since that time, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, we have a choice to make either decision to reject over 60% of these names or give President Ruto his skunk. Let us not interfere with it. We give it to him. He has asked for it. Let us give him his cabinet. We know he's going to run the government from State House. These are not people who can run a government. Apart from a few individuals who are not even more than 8, the rest are incompetent, unqualified, have integrity issues, are people who cannot deliver this country from where it is to the next level that we want the country to move in. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I will oppose most of the names.
Your time is up. Honorable members, before we move on further, allow me to acknowledge some schools that are up in the gallery, in the public gallery. Serare School from Kajiado County, St. Peter's Clever Secondary School from Makueni, Karaia Primary School from Kiambu County, Antenna School from Machakos County, Kihate Girls from Nyeri County, and Chebilati Mixed from Bometi County. On my behalf and on your behalf, I welcome the schools and the students to the House of Parliament. Now, honorable members, we had agreed yesterday that this was a time-bound motion, a special motion. We expanded the timing from the ordinary 3 hours to 5 hours, which are now spent, and I'll now invite the mover to reply. Thereafter, I'll give you direction on how we are going to vote. The mover.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And before I reply, Honorable Speaker, since I have about 15 minutes, I wanted to donate a few minutes. Honorable Speaker, one to the Honorable Kangogo, at least 2 minutes each. The Honorable Wangwe, 2 minutes. The Honorable Abdul Mandera South, 2 minutes. The Honorable Faith Gitao, 2 minutes. And Honorable Sigai, 2 minutes.
Can you repeat the names?
Honorable Kyunjuri, 2
Majority.
minutes.
Can you repeat the names for my record?
The Honorable Faith Gitao.
You started with Kangogo.
Yeah, Honorable Kangogo.
Wangwe.
Honorable Wangwe.
3.
Honorable Abdul Mandera South. Honorable Faith Gitao. Honorable Sigei. And Honorable Kyunjuri. Wangwe is in Azimio.
How many minutes are you donating to each one of them?
Say 1.5 each.
Okay.
1.5 each.
Start with Kangogo. You have 1.5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity first to thank the people of Marakwet East for giving me a third term. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, I want to support all the nominees by the President. Mr. Speaker, looking at the nominees, you can see that all the regions are represented. The gender balance is addressed. And Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate the President for making sure that even those parts of the country which didn't vote to Kenya Kwanza are included in his government. Mr. Speaker, I also want to join other colleagues, members of parliament who are here, who are in support of Penina Malonza. Mr. Speaker, I want to say all the nominees who are in that list are equal to their tasks. Mr. Speaker, I had some of our colleagues here who are accusing some of the nominees, especially Penina, and some of them even they don't have the qualification the nominee has. Mr. Speaker, I want to support that we, as Kenya Kwanza, we support and empower women, Mr. Speaker. I want also to thank my Majority Leader for giving me these 2 minutes, Mr. Speaker, and also take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, because I had not spoken in this 13th Parliament, to congratulate you for your election as our Speaker. Thank you.
Wangwe. Wangwe is not there. The Honorable Abdul. Ichungo, you're out of order. Honorable Abdul.
Mike. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity. First of all, I'll take you from the rest of most of the honorable members to vote for Honorable Malonza. I think it is not fair to subject her to a criteria which is not subjected to the rest of the nominees, and I think Honorable Malonza should be approved by this House as a nominee for tourism. Looking at the report and looking at especially the general and sector-specific questions that was asked to some of the nominees, I also noted Honorable Duale perhaps was asked one of the most awkward questions, whether he will be conflicted in performing his role as a CS defense in case of insurgency of Al-Shabaab. I don't know why that specific question was raised to Honorable Duale, which subjected him to trying to prove his Kenyanness, that he is Kenyan first before and also a Somali by tribe. I think that was a very awkward question. And the question on paragraph 229 to Honorable Mutua, the nominee for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, was a good one, especially on the plight of Kenyan migrants and workers.
Time is up. Honorable Faith Gitau.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for granting me this opportunity to offer my line of thoughts regarding the report as presented to this House by the Committee of Appointment. I want to congratulate this committee for professionalism portrayed during the vetting. Clearly, it could not have been done better. Well done, colleagues. I watched most of the vetting process, and I must say all nominees came out as pragmatists, very practical, very focused, and goal-oriented. They articulated very well. They are short.
Your time is up. Honorable Sigei. You have 1.5 minutes. Use your time well.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to first start by thanking you for giving me the opportunity to talk today. And secondly, I want to say I am privileged to talk here in front of my school, Chabilat from Bomet. They are here in the house, and I think they will take the message home that Sigei talked in their presence. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I want to mention these two things. Number one, I want to thank the committee for a good job done. Number two, I want to say that this house is not the court of law, and hence we wait for whatever is going to be done in the court so that we can discuss these issues. For now, I am proposing we pass all these nominees. And thirdly, I want to express my sympathy to Benina Malonza. I am a father, and I was shocked the way that lady was harassed. I want to say, even the family, I don't think they slept. So I simply...
Order, Honorable Sigei. That is not a statement of fact. Honorable Sigei, that is not a statement of fact. Nobody was harassed. The Speaker chaired the committee. The fact that people didn't answer questions properly doesn't mean it was harassment. Injury, it is over for you, Honorable Sigei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As you are aware, all of us, Mr. Speaker, are not yet settled because at the end of the day, we don't have substantive ministers. We need ministers where we know they are fully in office, where we can present our problems. Already there are so many problems facing this country. Like right now, the issue of drought. You don't know where to go and address because the president cannot be everywhere. The president alone cannot run this government. Mr. Speaker, I've been charged 17 times before I became a member of parliament, and all those cases, none of them could stand the test of time. Mr. Speaker, we cannot judge as members of parliament because we already judge out there. And we have to give people opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to be heard at any level so that at least, Mr. Speaker, it is not about regimes that are going to judge us. If these people had been judged during the regime of Mwai Kibaki, then we can say there is a bit of fairness. Some of us have been taken through DCI 9 times, Mr. Speaker, left free, and even today none of our cases have ever been, we have never been charged, but 9 times dragged through the DCI offices. Mr. Speaker, it's not fair that members who are seated here, who knew how the regime that was there operated, can be sitting here.
Time up. The mover.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, let me just take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to thank all the members. The Honorable Wango is bowing, but he's lost his opportunity. To thank all the members of this House, Honorable Speaker, for their very good contributions, and listening to all the contributions by many members, it's clear that the House, to a large extent, does agree with the committee in terms of the recommendations made, especially on the approvals. And Honorable Speaker, I've also had numerous members speak on the rejection, the one rejection, and the reservations that were expressed by the minority in their minority report, Honorable Speaker. And maybe just to pick up from where the Honorable Kinjuri has left, Honorable Speaker, it is indeed true that people have been charged in this country with crimes that they have not committed. And indeed, Honorable Speaker, besides being charged, there are people, and we've all witnessed in the last few weeks, people who have lost their lives out of actions of omission or commission by the former regime, Honorable Speaker. And we know what kind of country we are living in under the previous regime, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I really want to implore on the House, as the Honorable Mwangi Kinjuri has said, that even himself, before he became minister, he had been charged numerous times. The Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Linturi...
I'll give you 2 minutes to wind up.
The Honorable Linturi, Honorable Speaker, did indicate that all the cases I stated yesterday that he has in court are civil cases. And the only criminal case that he had already been withdrawn, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, I really want to ask the House to support the committee's report. As I said yesterday, Honorable Speaker, the committee expressed itself on Penina Malonza, but the decision, the ultimate decision, lies in this House. And Honorable Speaker, I really want to ask the House to make an informed decision based on the debate that has transpired here, Honorable Speaker, and the information that is already in your hands in the report. And with that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply and ask all members to, in a very bipartisan manner, support all these nominees to allow His Excellency the President to go ahead, swear them in, and form government so that they may start the work of serving the people of Kenya. We all went through a vigorous campaign, and our constituents are waiting for service from government. And we are all, I'm sure we are all going to be ready to hold to account all these cabinet secretaries once they are sworn in. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to reply.
Honorable members, before I put the question, we will vote on this motion as follows. Once I put the question, you will vote on a voice vote on nominees numbers 1 to 21 as one vote. You will then vote on nominee Roman 2, the appointed Attorney General. You will then vote on nominee Roman 3, Mercy Wanjau, Secretary of the Cabinet. Then you will vote on the rejection of Penina Malonza, Roman 4. Depending on how you vote on Roman 4, I'll then give you further direction. I now put the question. So I'll read up to 21, ask you to vote. Then we go to Roman 2, you vote. Roman 3, you vote. Then Roman 4, you vote. Honorable members, I now put the question. Can the members at the bar take their seats? Members, take your seats quickly. Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. We'll now put the question. Before I put the question, allow me, members, to also acknowledge the presence in the public gallery of Precious Blood Girls High School from Kiambu County. We all welcome them to the House of Parliament. Honorable members, I now put the question that taking into consideration the findings of the Committee on Appointments in its first report on the vetting of nominees for approval as Cabinet Secretaries, the Secretary of the Cabinet and the Attorney General laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, October 24th, 2022, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 152(2), 154(2)A, and 156(2) of the Constitution, and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House, 1, approves the appointment of the following persons as Cabinet Secretaries. The Honorable Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, EGH, Office of the Prime Cabinet Minister. The Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior and National Administration. The Honorable Professor Njuguna Ndungu, CBS, Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning. The Honorable Alice Mudhoni Wahome, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. The Honorable Rebecca Miano, MBS, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of East African Community, the ASALs and Regional Development. The Honorable Alfred Nganga Mutua, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora. The Honorable Aisha Juma Karisa Katana, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action. The Honorable Moses K. Kuria, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Trade, Investment and Industry. The Honorable Rosalinda Soipan Tuya, CBS, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Environment and Forestry. The Honorable Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Roads, Transport and Public Works. Mr. Sakaria Mwangi Njeru, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. Ms. Susan Nahumicha Wafula, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Health. The Honorable Franklin Mithika Linturi, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Agriculture and Livestock Development. Mr. Eliud Okech Owalo, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy. The Honorable Ezekiel Machogu Ombaki, CBS, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Education. Mr. Davis Kimutai Chirchir, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Energy and Petroleum. The Honorable Ababu Namwamba, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Youth Affairs, Sports and Arts. Mr. Simon Kiprono Chelugui, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME Development. The Honorable Salim Mvuria, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Mining, the Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs. The Honorable Florence Chepngetich Kosgei Bore, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Labor and Social Protection. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say no? Yes. The ayes have it. The next is to call upon you on that the House approves the appointment of the Honorable Justin Bedan Njoka Muturi, EGH, as the Attorney General. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The next is to call upon you. Can the members at the bar take their seats? Order, honorable members. The next is to call upon the House that the House approves the appointment of Ms. Mercy Kiiru Wanjau. Order. The House approves the appointment of Ms. Mercy Kiiru Wanjau, CBS, as the Secretary of the Cabinet. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. And the last vote, order, honorable members. The last vote is that the House rejects the appointment of the Honorable Penina Malonza, OGW, as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. Now, order, honorable members, the upshot of that vote, honorable members, is that you have approved the appointment of all the nominees up to Mercy Kiiru Wanjau. You have negatived the rejection of Penina Malonza. This means Penina Malonza is now in purgatory. She's neither in heaven nor in hell. She's in purgatory. Now, the next move on Penina Malonza, I have received and approved a motion by the Honorable Irene Kasalu. She wants to move the House now to decide whether to shift Penina Malonza from purgatory to hell or to heaven. And I will now give her an opportunity to move the motion. Once she moves the motion, we have a seconder. Order, honorable members, order. Once she moves the motion, we have a seconder. Once we have a seconder, I want to encourage the House that you have overventilated on this matter. You allow the chair to put the question after proposing the question. Is the Honorable Kasal in the House? I invite you now to move your motion in not more than 10 minutes. And your seconder will be allotted 5 minutes. You can go ahead, the Honorable Kasalu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And in the view of the decision of the House today, with respect to the motion on the approval of appointment of On Penina Malonza, OGW, as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage, and the requirement for...
Sorry, Honorable Kasalu, I think we have jumped the gun. First, give notice of your motion. Thereafter, I'll then allow you to move it. Then it gets seconded and we move as guided. So first give notice of the motion. Just start by saying, I give notice of the following motion, then read the motion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I give notice of motion for the approval of appointment of On Penina Malonza, OGW, as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. Yes. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Kasalu, now you may proceed to...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And in the view of the House decision today, with respect to the motion on the approval of appointment of On Penina Malonza, OGW...
Honorable Kasalu, when you move your motion, you start by saying, I move the following motion.
Thank you, Honorable
Then you
Speaker.
read the motion as it is, then go on to elucidate what you want to say.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand guided. And the Honorable Speaker, I move the following motion, that in the view of the decision of the House today, with respect to the motion on the approval of appointment of Honorable Penina Malonza, OGW, as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage, and the requirement for an equivocal decision of the National Assembly on such matters, I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Article 152(2) of the Constitution and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Act of 2011, that this House approves the appointment of the On Penina Malonza, OGW, as a Cabinet Secretary for the Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. Honorable Speaker, allow me to say that I want to thank the people of Kitui for electing me for the second time. And I must say that I had a worthy opponent by the name On Penina Malonza. And having her as my opponent, I can only say good words about her. On Penina Malonza is a brave woman. This lady decided to vie for women in Kitui County on a UDA ticket, despite the area being a wiper zone. And the people of Kitui actually voted for her with a lot of votes. And I think she's the only candidate for Mukambani who vied on UNDA who got the highest votes. On Penina Malonza is a woman of integrity. She has not been charged in any court in this country on any issue. On Penina Malonza is well schooled. And she's an appointment of what many girls on this country would aspire to get academically. On Penina Malonza has a working history. She was the last deputy governor for Kitui County when Malombe was the governor. And it's during this time the duo delivered for the people of Kitui, and a lot of development were done in Kitui County. On Penina Malonza is being looked at by all the people of Kitui County. I'm sure, on Speaker, you have heard of the many bandits attacking the Kitui County. And on Penina Malonza comes from one of those areas that is Mother Ward. And the people of Kitui are looking upon her. Once this nomination has gone through and she's has gone through and she become the CS for tourism, wildlife and heritage, that she's be able to sort the issue of the bandit attack. So with these few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I want to call upon Dr. Pukose of Debes constituency to second the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second first before the point of order.
Honorable member, Dr. Bukose, take your seat. What is out of order, honorable member? Give him the mic, please. Give the honorable member the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And first, I'm not talking about the rejection of Honorable Penina. We support her. But Honorable Irene Kasalu talked about that Honorable Penina will sort out the issue of bandit attacks
Honorable
in Kitui.
member, you are out of order.
So
Take
the
your
point
seat.
we are talking about.
Take your seat, honorable member. You are grossly out of order. Honorable Dr. Bukose, you can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to second
Honorable
the motion.
member, for order, Honorable Bukose, for avoidance of any such incidents in future, honorable members, especially for our new colleagues, you stand on a point of order when a colleague is on the floor, on the feet, and has breached some standing order. Number two, I and the panelists of the Speaker's chair will, going forward, demand to know which standing order has been breached when you say point of order, so that you don't come under the guise of point of order and embark on a totally different misadventure. Thirdly, when you want to raise a point of order, the member against whom you are raising must still be on the floor. Once the member has left the floor, you cannot raise a point of order about what they were saying. Honorable Bukose, you have 5 minutes or less.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to second the motion by Honorable Irene Kasalu on that this House approves the appointment of Penina Malonza as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. Honorable Speaker, today morning we were having a cup of tea and discussing with Honorable Nzengu, member for Mwingi North, among others. And at times you look at the Cabinet Secretary is supposed to be in charge of policy, not technical. And I asked the member, if you are bitten by a snake, where do you report? It's supposed to be you report to the police station, get a P3 form, then go and see a doctor. Once you've seen a doctor, the doctor feels the extent of your injuries. But I know many of you didn't know that. So we should not be able to ask, at times we ask so technical questions, but somebody with that level of education will be able to learn. Let's give this lady an opportunity to be able to deliver to this country as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and National Heritage. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, I beg to propose the question. that pursuant to the provisions of Article 152(2) of the Constitution and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of the Honorable Penina Malonza OGW as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. I will now put the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Articles 152(2) of the Constitution and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of the Honorable Penina Malonza OGW as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order. Will now, honorable members, go back to the motion of the member for Lurambi, the Honorable Titus Hamala. You had moved your motion. Now we want your seconder. Who is your seconder?
In fact,
Mudenyo.
alikuwa amemove, eh?
Okay. Rachel.
Are we still proceeding with the same? Order number 10, motion, review of teacher deployment policy.